Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah and I like to ramble about books. We're in a different area of my house today because my master bedroom is now getting redone, which my reading room is right off of that. So a lot of the stuff from the master got shoved into there, so it's kind of unusable right now. So we'll just deal with this little corner here. There might be some background noise just because our pellet stove is in this room and I really don't want to shut it off because it's winter and freezing. So we're just gonna manage for now. Hopefully it'll be done soon and we won't be here for too long. But today's video is probably gonna be a long one, so definitely grab a drink and get comfortable. I'm going to be doing my December reading wrap up, my January TBR, and then just talking about my goals in general for 2026. So let's just dive on in because it's going to be a long one. The first book that I finished in the month of December was Warrior Fae by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti. This is the final book in the Ruthless Boys series, and I think I gave this 4.5 stars. Hang on. 4.5 stars. Overall, I really love this. The only reason it wasn't a 5-star from what I can recall, because it was so long ago that I read this, is that I feel like in the middle we dragged just a tiny bit. But I loved how everything wrapped up. Our character arcs for all our characters was beautiful. My only other issue too, now that I'm remembering, is I did listen to the audio of this and we did have a narrator change. So our female narrator was different and that did irk me a little bit, but as I got going, I got used to it. I just really hate it when they do that, especially we've gone through 4 books and then all of a sudden the 5th book, it's like a stark change. That was a little bit annoying, but not a huge deal. Next few books are audiobooks because I was really trying hard to reach my goal for the end of the year in December, and I had to manage to get 10 books, so audiobooks were my savior. The next book I finished in December was One by One by Frida McFadden. This one I gave 4 stars. I loved this. This was fantastic. It was really quick, really fast paced. We're following 3 couples that are going on a vacation together to like this cabin, and on the way something happens to their car. They're in the middle of nowhere with no service, so they have to try to trek through the woods to hopefully get to this cabin. It's like a cabin resort kind of thing, not just like a little tiny cabin in the woods. But slowly they start to get picked off one by one. So I thought it was really intriguing. The couple dynamics were very interesting because we have a lot of couples. Okay, there's only 3, but we have 2 couples whose relationships are kind of on the rocks, and then there's cheating involved, so it's a very interesting dynamic we have with all our characters. The next book I finished was The Tenant by Frida McFadden. Literally, I went on a binge of Frida in December, and this one I gave 4 stars as well. I really did like this one. At first, it was a little bit different because our main character was a guy, and I feel like she mostly rates female main characters, so that threw me off a little bit, but I felt so bad for this guy. Like he felt like at times he was going insane, and you're just like, what is happening to this poor man? And when things are finally revealed, it's nuts. But again, I really enjoyed this one as well. 4 stars. Frida, probably one of my favorite thriller authors, right up there with Alice Feeney. Speaking of Alice Feeney, next book was His and Hers. Actually, I have this one. His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Another mystery thriller. I gave this 5 stars. This was like leaning 4.5, and then the ending just shocked me so much that I ended up giving it this 5 stars. But we have 2 points of views. We have his and hers. Hers is a reporter named Anna Andrews, and she for a while has been like a news anchor, but the woman she took over her role for came back from maternity leave, so now she's demoted basically to a field reporter, has to go to this small town to report on a series of murders that is happening. But turns out it's the town she grew up in, and the victims are people she knew. And then his point of view is Jack Harper. He's a detective, used to be a big shot detective in London, moved to the small town. Now that these murders are happening, so that's huge for a small town like this. Turns out though, he and Anna actually were previously married and divorced. So a lot of interesting dynamics. Of course, then he knows the victims too, because he had that relationship with Anna. He also has some of his own connections with them too. I'm not going to dive too much into that, but I really enjoyed this one as well. Alice is amazing. The next book was The Crash by Freida McFadden. This one got 3.5 stars. It almost got 2.5 stars, but the ending did kind of save it. I really felt our main character was just very obnoxious. Every decision she made, or just some of the thoughts she was having, I'm just like, why are you so stupid? I get what she was trying to portray as just like her instincts and like based off of something that happened. She kept trusting this one person who was clearly untrustworthy, and she knows she's untrustworthy, but then at times would trust her because she convinced herself of something. And it was just really frustrating, honestly. So that part irritated me. But overall, it was still intriguing. The premise was very intriguing for sure, but we're basically following this woman who's 8 months pregnant. She is on a trip to go to her brother, and it's in the middle of a snowstorm. She crashes her car, and this man saves her, brings her to his house where his wife is at. She's got like a broken ankle or something, and so they hold on to her until the storm clears, they get the power back, and they can get her to a hospital. But it's Freida, so something sinister is going on too. So that's really all I'm gonna say. I did like it, just not my strongest one prepared, just because I could not stand her main character. Okay, so I think that's it for our mystery thriller section of the month. The next two I'll just talk about together. One was the next one I finished, and then the other one was actually the last one I finished for December, and that is Lore Olympus Volume 8 and 9. These were both 5 stars? Yeah, these were both 5 stars. So amazing. I'm even trying to remember what happened, but like I'm just getting the events all jumbled in my mind, but I was so thrilled with both of these books, and now I think I'm officially caught up in what's released. I'm pretty sure Volume 10 comes out sometime this year, so I am very much looking forward to that and just continuing with the series. It's amazing. I've said it a million times probably by now, but if you haven't read it, if you love Greek mythology and you're looking for a graphic novel, whether it's your first or you are already into them, please, please, please pick up the series. I love it so much. Next up, I listened to the audio, but I have a physical copy of it, and that is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. I ended up landing on a 3.5 star rating for this. I'm not gonna lie, almost halfway through I almost DNF'd this, because I was just kind of bored, honestly. So the only reason I didn't is because I knew at some point our story was gonna like make a flip where the relationship between our two main characters was going to change. So I was holding out for that, and when that happened I did start to enjoy things more, and the ending was, I don't want to say shocking per se, but you know, it was a little like, oh my god. I wasn't like, my jaw was on the floor, but this still was pretty startling, I guess. I'm trying to find a word for that and I can't think of a good one. But I liked it. I am definitely going to read the next one, because I know this, it's a whole series, but it's in sets of duologies. So I'm at least going to finish out this duology. Depending on how that second one goes, we'll see if I continue with any more of these. If I don't, I'm probably going to unhaul these and sell these on my Pango. So if you guys are interested in picking up a copy, definitely keep an eye out on my Pango shop, because it'll probably show up there if the second one doesn't go super great. But it's a romantasy. It is very political, which if you do like that, then definitely pick this up. But I just feel like the first half just dragged so much, so it was really irritating me, and I was honestly getting bored and almost just stopped. But maybe the conclusion will redeem it. The next book I read, I'm so happy I finally got to this book, and that is Taurus Season by Bryn Weaver. Bryn Weaver is the author of the Ruinous Love trilogy, so Butcher and Blackbird, Mother and Lark, Scythe and Sparrow, I think. And then this is the start of a spin-off trilogy from that series. You don't have to read that series in order to jump into this one. I think it would benefit you to, because then you would have a little bit of insight on our female main character. This is dual POV, so we have her and we have our male main character's point of view as well. But we're following a woman named Harper Starling who lives in this town called Cape Carnage. It's a touristy town, it's on the coast. She just happens to also be a vigilante serial killer, She honestly feels like it's her duty to protect this town. She is living in a little cottage on this giant estate, and she is also the caretaker for this elderly gentleman who lives on the estate, who also has a dark history, and he is just kind of like her mentor too, and I love their relationship. And then we have Nolan Rhodes. He's our male main character who has come to town for one mission and one mission alone, and that is revenge. And unfortunately that revenge is against our female main character, Harper Starling. But things happen and they end up in an unlikely partnership trying to, in a way, work towards the same goal. I'm not going to say too much, but I love this so much. It was so good. It was funny. I gave this 4.5 stars. It was so close to being a 5-star, but to me 5 stars is just a feeling. And I didn't quite get that feeling, but it was so close. But I have already pre-ordered Harvest Season, which I think comes out, oh, I can't remember if it's March or June. It's early. It's in the first half of this year. So I am really excited for that. And I definitely highly recommend this, especially if you really like her writing in general, and if you just want to try like a dark romantic comedy, because that's basically what she writes. And then the last book I'll talk about for my reading wrap up for the month of December is He Sees You When You're Sleeping by Alta Hensley. This was marketed as like a dark romance that's Christmas themed, so I thought it was appropriate. I did not like this. I gave this 2 stars. Honestly, the reasoning, it kind of sounds fucked up. It wasn't really that dark. I think it was more, if I already classified it as anything, I'd say probably more like a taboo romance. I really think they were just trying to go for like the energy and theme of Lights Out, but they failed miserably. I didn't really like either of our main characters. Like, they weren't super, I didn't hate them, but like they weren't very interesting either. And I just honestly was bored a lot of the time, and I probably should have DNF'd this one, but I really wanted to hit that goal, so I just stuck it out and thought maybe this will get better, maybe it'll really ramp up, but I don't know, it's just more of a taboo romance than like a dark romance. There's like a couple dark things that happen, a tiny bit of stalking, but like it's not on the same level like Lights Out or Haunting Adeline, like nowhere even close. So if you're looking for more of a dark romance aspect, I'd probably skip on this one. But that's everything I read in the month of December. Jumping into January and the new year, I think we'll just hit on my goals first because that will be pretty quick. First up, reading goal, I am only setting at 60 because if you weren't aware, I'm going to be having my first baby this year, so I anticipate that's probably going to cut into my reading time. We're gonna lower that goal. I think it's still attainable. We'll see, especially with audiobooks. I do love audiobooks. I actually upgraded my Audible membership. I was only getting 1 credit every other month. I just recently upgraded to go back to 1 once a month. And I really want to utilize my Spotify subscription more to use for audiobooks as well. So I'm hoping that'll kind of help keep me on track and be able to multitask while I'm still reading in a way. I set a couple other goals too. So that was my main goal, is to read 60 books. My other goal is to read 50% of my physical TBR, which right before I started filming, I decided to write all my books on my physical TBR on the TBR list in my nice little reading journal. And I have 101. So I need to read 50.5 books. My reading goal is only 60. So I'm still gonna keep the goal. Odds are, I feel like I have a lot of series on my TBR that I haven't even started. So if we get to a series that I end up DNFing the first book, I'm gonna declare that whole series. So that's gonna pare down on that list. I don't anticipate that. I really hope that doesn't happen, but I feel like there's gonna be at least 1 or 2. I'm gonna read 1 to 2 books in the series and be like, you know what, this isn't for me, and then I'm not gonna get any more. So hopes are I can still attain that. Also, I do like to either immersive read or just read the audio if it's available on one of my platforms. That's why I started with The Bridge Kingdom, because that's included in your Audible Plus membership. So that's why I did that audiobook too. So I'm hoping to kind of utilize that too, to kind of knock off some of those reads. And then my third goal, which I've been trying to be better about this past year, and so I'm really hoping to focus on it this year, is ultimately quality over quantity. So yes, I have a lot of numbers based goals, but I think overall I just want to be reading books that I really do enjoy and not being afraid of DNFing something. Bridge Kingdom, I was happy I stuck it out with, and I feel like I'm a good judge usually, but He Sees You While You're Sleeping I should have just DNF'd because I did not like that book. So I feel like sometimes I'm a little bit on the fence about it, but I just feel like I need to be a little bit more comfortable at DNFing books, or at least at the bare minimum soft DNFing. Like, this isn't the right time, put it back, we'll come back to it later. And then hopefully it is the right time, or I say, hey, it still isn't the right time, probably time to get rid of it. So those are my goals. Jumping into my January TBR, I already have a couple books picked. So I have Bougie this year. Not really, because I only bought one of these, but I have 2 reading journals. One I bought because I like to have like a big beefy one that you can do reviews in. It's also a little bit of a planner in one, but my friend has a book subscription box and she got a reading journal in it and she's not going to use it at all. So she gave that to me too, which I'm going to use this one as well because there's a couple fun challenges in here to do and a couple different ways to track things in here that I do enjoy as well. So I'm going to use both of them. One of the things I love about both of these is this one, my bigger one that I purchased, has this 12 moon reading challenge. So there is a prompt for each month of the year. This one has something similar. This one has a buzzword challenge. So it's just, again, a prompt for each month. So I want to use these each month and then probably pull like 2 to 3 prompts from my TBR jar. Most months I decide to use that. Some months I just go on a mood reading binge and I just read what I feel like. A lot of times I like the jar because it still lets me choose what I want to read, but it helps me narrow it down because I have a really hard time making decisions sometimes. So jumping in to my January TBR, first up is The Traitor Queen, which is the sequel to The Bridge Kingdom. I've already started listening to this again on Audible because it's available on their Plus library, and I think I'm pretty close to done it actually, but I'll say my thoughts for my wrap up at the end of the month. The Moon reading challenge for the month of January is to read a book that features wolf shifters. We're already a couple days into the month, so I already started this book, and that is, I took the dust jacket off because I hate dust jackets, but that's The Wolf King by Lauren Pauferman, which I'm not super far into this, but I'm having a really fun time, and I have a feeling I'm really going to like this. And then my buzzword challenge prompt is to do a color in the title. I had a really hard time with this. I searched my bookshelves, and I was really trying to find loopholes to like pull certain books. And I came up with 2 options. At first I only had one, but then I reassessed and I was like, wait, no, this counts too. So the first option is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I've heard amazing things about this series, the original trilogy and the books beyond that. I just don't know if I'm ready to dive into this yet. So that's when I went back and reevaluated to see if I had any other options. And I do, and that is A Dawn of Onyx by Kate Golden. Onyx to me, that's black, that's a color. So I am counting this, and I think I'm going to pick this one just because I did put this on my 26-ish books to finish in 2026. So I do kind of want to prioritize the books on that list as well so I can actually accomplish that. So we're gonna go with this one. I might have the audio for this too. I think I got it on sale through Audible. So I'll either immersive read or just do the audio for this. And then it's time to pick my prompts. So I think I am gonna do 3 prompts. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull these prompts, show them to you, and then I will go assess for our books because that's in another room right now. So first prompt. Oh my god, this is so long. I don't even know if you can read that. But this is a book with a cover the color of the shirt you're wearing. So I feel like I have 2 options, and that's either blue or white. I think I'm probably gonna have better luck with blue. Prompt number 2. That's gonna be prompt number 2, and that is a young adult book. A couple options for that, a couple ideas. And then the third one, oh, this is easy. Third one's going to be a book with sprayed edges. So let me go make some picks and I will be right back. That went way faster than I thought it was going to. I thought I was gonna take forever and have like a million different options, which I potentially could have, but I think I found everything that fit these prompts and was also on my list of 26 books to read in 2026. So that's fantastic. Whether I get to them or not remains to be seen. So one of the prompts was a young adult book. So I decided to go with The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This one is about some, I'm pretty sure they're teenagers because it's young adult, but they have special gifts and they are recruited to help solve crimes, is my understanding of it. So that, very interesting. It is the start of a new series, which again, that's another goal that I always just have in the back of my mind, is just try to finish up some of the series I'm in the middle of, whether that's say I'm done with them or to actually finish them. But anyway, I digress. The other prompt we had was a book with sprayed edges. So I'm going to do Hollow by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valenti, which, these edges are stunning, even the cover too. So I'm pretty sure the second book in this series comes out the first half of this year too. And then the last prompt was a book with a cover that's the color of the shirt I'm wearing. So my shirt is blue and white, and this time it has a little bit of white on it too, but it's mostly blue, so dark blue. And that is Soul Searching by Lila Sage. She is a mainly contemporary romance author, but this one's like a paranormal romance. I'm not a huge contemporary romance person, but throw some paranormal in there, I'm intrigued. So I have a little bit of variety. I feel like we're very fantasy romance heavy, so having just a paranormal romance and a young adult, I'm assuming this is probably going to be like mystery. Shakes things up a little bit, gives me a little bit of diversity. So that's pretty much it for today's video. I'd love to hear your goals for 2026, whether that's a reading goal or any other types of goals that you have that are focused on your reading. You know, quality over quantity, anything like that. Let me know. If you've read any of these books I mentioned, whether it's my wrap-up or my TBR books, let me know too. I'd love to hear your thoughts and if you think I will enjoy them. And if you guys have any recommendations, any video recommendations, book recommendations, whatever you want to recommend to me, I will take it. But that's pretty much it, everything for today. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!